Beyond the winter gate, living the spring. 1. Old habits. David Park was 53. He lived on the 13th floor of an old apartment complex on the outskirts of Seoul. Cold winter air pressed thinly against the balcony windows. In one corner of the living room sat a worn sofa and an old television. On the dining table lay medicine packets, receipts, and the usual handwritten notes listing all the things he still needed to do. Every morning began the same way. A glass of water, blood pressure medication, a quick glance at news headlines on his phone, a sigh, and then, silently, a prayer. Please let things get easier this year. Please help my son find a job. Please let our family stay out of trouble. This was familiar to David. It was how he had lived most of his life. When life felt heavy, he prayed for blessings. When his family wavered, he prayed for blessings. When he himself was tired, he searched for blessings. But at some point, those blessings stopped feeling close. His son was already in his 30s and still unsettled. Every mention of marriage with his daughter ended in conflict. His wife spoke less and less. At work, he had started watching the faces of younger employees, unsure of where he stood. He used to believe that if you worked hard, things would work out. But now, even working hard didn't quiet his heart. That day was no different. At work, he spoke too sharply again. A junior colleague cautiously pointed something out, but it sounded like disrespect to David. His voice rose before he could stop it. The meeting room fell silent. People looked down. On the subway ride home, he saw his reflection in the window. Why have I become like this? He thought. At home, his wife said quietly, "You've been angry a lot lately. You just look exhausted." That hurt more than blame would have. That night, unable to sleep, David scrolled through his phone. He stopped on a short lecture video. The title caught his eye, "The True Meaning of Enlightenment in Changing Times." Normally, he avoided such things. Words like later heaven, earlier heaven, or enlightenment felt distant from real life. But this time, he tapped the screen. The speaker's voice was calm, but the words landed sharply. In the past, people prayed because survival itself was hard. But the times have changed. Now, we must use what we have. David turned the volume up slightly. 2. This is no longer an age of asking. The lecture continued. This is no longer an age where asking alone brings results. Now, enlightenment comes from how you treat your relationships, using the inner substance you have cultivated. David almost laughed at the word substance. It sounded like physics. But the next sentence stopped him. When your inner substance is lacking, even those closest to you won't listen. No matter how right your words are, they won't land. His chest tightened. That's me, he thought. The speaker continued. When things don't go your way, complaints arise. Complaints are a way of hiding your own lack. But in this age, that lack returns as pain. David thought of his recent stomach aches, the headaches, the rising blood pressure. He turned the phone off and stared at the ceiling. I'm lacking, the word scratched at his pride, yet strangely brought clarity. All his life, he believed that if something was missing, you earned more, endured more, pushed harder. But now, money, position, and family harmony all felt out of reach. The next morning he listened again, this time all the way through. 3. Relationships are the blessing. The speaker said, Heaven does not give money directly. It sends people. That is the blessing. When you treat relationships correctly, enlightenment follows. This idea felt foreign to David. He had always thought of blessings as money or success. But people? Suddenly, he remembered his father's funeral years ago. A senior manager from work had quietly stayed until the very end. Because of that presence, David hadn't collapsed. He had been grateful then, but he had never thought of it as a blessing. So that was heaven sending a person, he realized. For the first time, David looked at his life from a different angle. 4. The first test. Letting go of I am right. A few days later, a small incident happened at work. A report contained a miscalculation. A junior employee carefully pointed it out. "Team leader, I think the numbers here might be off." Normally, David would have snapped. "Why bring this up now? Why didn't you check earlier? Do you think I don't know my own work?" But that day, he swallowed his words. A line from the lecture surfaced in his mind. "When substance is lacking, stubbornness appears." David closed his eyes briefly, then said, "You're right. I missed that. Thank you. Let's review it together." The junior looked startled. The air in the room shifted. David surprised himself. That single sentence didn't make him feel smaller. It made him lighter. So strength isn't insisting I'm right, he thought. At lunch, he sat with the team for the first time in a long while. One junior smiled awkwardly. "You seem different today." David laughed. "I feel different too." A small warmth settled in his chest, something he hadn't felt in years. 5. The harder test. Family home was harder. One Saturday evening, his son tried to retreat to his room again when the topic of jobs came up. Anger surged in David's chest. "Until when are you going to?" He stopped. "In this age, practice happens in daily life," the lecture echoed. Instead of calling out, he asked his wife, "Did he eat today?" "Just ramen this morning," she said. David knocked on his son's door. "David Jr., are you hungry? Want to eat together?" His son opened the door halfway, wary. "Why?" David smiled slightly. "I just want to eat with you." After a long pause, his son nodded. They went to a small soup restaurant. Steam rose from the bowls. David's throat tightened. After a while, David spoke. "I've been angry a lot lately." His son looked up. "I think it's because I was scared. Scared you'd fail." But fear came out as anger. His son took a spoonful of soup, then said quietly, "I'm scared too." Of failing. That single sentence struck David deeply. His son wasn't lazy. He was afraid. At that moment, David understood. To treat a relationship properly means not judging it by my own standards. That night, his wife said softly, "Did you eat with our son?" When David nodded, her eyes filled with tears. "Thank you. That's what this house needed." 6. Knowledge and wisdom. One evening, David opened an old notebook. It was filled with certification notes, formulas, procedures. "This is knowledge," he thought. Knowledge had fed his family. But now what he needed was wisdom. How to handle people. How to manage his own heart. Wisdom wasn't written in formulas. The lecture's words returned. Knowledge is logic from the past. Wisdom is how you operate in the present. From then on, David began small experiments. He stopped interrupting in meetings. He asked, "Where did it get stuck?" Instead of, "Why did you do this?" At home, he listened without immediately offering solutions. It felt awkward at first, but as days passed, his heart grew quieter. People spoke to him more freely. His wife smiled more. His daughter called just to ask how he was. These aren't visible blessings, he thought, but they're real. 7. The Winter Gate. The lecture mentioned December 21st, 2012, the winter solstice. David didn't fully understand its cosmic meaning, but he understood the feeling. The longest night. After that, the light slowly returns. My life is like that, he thought. That night, he didn't ask for anything. Instead, he decided, I will acknowledge my lack. I will learn. I will treat the people in front of me with care. It wasn't a prayer. It was resolve. 8. Practice begins at the dinner table. One spring evening, David sat at the table with his family, eating soybean stew. Nothing special happened. Just eating, talking, laughing. But the ordinary felt precious. His son said, "Dad, you don't get angry much these days." David smiled. "Is that uncomfortable?" "No," his son said. "It makes me want to do better." David felt warmth fill his chest. Changing myself changes relationships, he realized. Enlightenment wasn't something distant. It was daily attitude. A single sentence. A look across the table. 9. David's quiet reflection. Late at night, David sat alone in the living room, city lights flickering outside. He thought, I spent years asking for blessings. Now I see. Blessings come when I treat people properly. And one more truth. Raising substance isn't becoming smarter. It's becoming broader. Listening. Enduring. Understanding. Learning. David wasn't perfect. Anger still rose at times. But now he knew where to return. Am I treating this relationship properly? Am I learning instead of blaming? Those questions brought him back to himself. The winter gate had already passed. Spring wasn't far away. It was in today's attitude.